Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dark Ozarks.
It's very dark.
It is dark, and we are in the Civil War Cemetery in Newtonia, Missouri, near midnight,
Yes.
October 29th, 2022. This is a very special on location subscribers video, so welcome and thank you all for being a part of this Dark Ozarks journey. And we have many favorite cemeteries. This is probably at the top of my list.
It's at the top or pretty close to the top of mine.
And what what do you want folks to know about this cemetery, Lisa?
It's unique and it's something that is easily overlooked,
True.
passed by. It's one of those places that if you don't know it's here, you wouldn't find it.
Right.
And it has so much history and significance, not only just for families in the area, but for Civil War history and the growing of the country. So much happened on this land.
It did. And of course, this evening we have concluded the history and paranormal event at the Ritchie Mansion, which included for the guests, for the attendees, an opportunity to come out here to the cemetery. But of course, we were busy at the mansion all evening, so this is our first time out here today.
Yeah, yes. And it's a beautiful night, but I feel like I'm being watched.
And that is very normal.
It is
That
here.
is very, very normal. It's I think this would not be a bad point just to talk a little bit about this. Oftentimes, when you're in locations, you might not be able to pick up things on equipment, or you might not have equipment,
Right.
but you will have just a sense, for example, a sense of watchfulness, a sense of presence. There's also, of course, particular skeptics, and sometimes we're skeptics. You say, well, it's almost midnight. You're standing in a Civil War cemetery. Your mind is going to play tricks on you, or you really, really want something to happen. So it's all in your head. And how do you approach that?
Well, for me, I don't usually feel that way about cemeteries anyway.
Right.
I find them peaceful and calming, and usually not haunted.
Yeah.
Actually, there are a handful that I know that are, a couple that are our favorites,
Yeah.
and this is one.
It is.
I almost feel like an echo of the battle itself continues here.
Well, and something that is of particular note, the first battle, the First Battle of Newtonia, September 30th, 1862, traversed the battle lines themselves came through this property.
It did.
The Union, in this particular case, was approaching from the north, and I think the regiments from Wisconsin were actually in this area. So the dead were initially buried, to my knowledge, in the location because this is large. There were men falling in battle here.
Yes.
Something that Jim mentioned that I hadn't done a lot of research on, but he mentioned this evening, was that the Union troops who were interred here were largely removed and taken back to their respective states. But that also includes the reality that some were not.
Some were not, and Confederate casualties, and also some of the ones interred here would have been Indian soldiers.
Yes.
On both sides.
On both sides.
And certainly the burials would not have been in accordance with tribal custom,
Correct.
which could lend itself to more of a presence as well.
And possible unrest.
Exactly.
It is, again, important to not get too paranoid, too worked up over the, uneasy dead. But at the same time, there is presence here. And sometimes it's very calming, actually, but it is here.
Yes.
Sometimes it isn't.
And there's a very interesting story that can lead to some of that as well with the grave that we're standing next to, actually.
Yes, it's a notable crypt
It is.
on the western side of the cemetery.
Union officer, Christian, who was known not only to fight guerrillas and Confederates, but to hunt them down.
Yes.
And is known to have ambushed men and killed them and beheaded them
Yeah.
as his way of killing them, and was actually killed not actually in battle here, but as the fighting was over with, someone else recognized him as having killed his father and killed him.
Interesting. Again, it really speaks to the bloodshed. It speaks to the immense unrest that took place, and the pivotal conflict
Yes.
that took place specifically not just in Missouri, but very specifically here in this immediate stretch of counties.
And I think it's also worth saying that it's not a matter of winners or losers at this point, that everyone involved was playing a part in building this nation, and we can learn from their experiences and what happened, and we have to look at them through the lens of their own time.
100%. And honor their lives.
Yes.
And I think, oftentimes it's easy to get very sensational about this sort of thing. But when you're standing, for me, when I'm standing in a cemetery at midnight, it is a very solemn and a very beautiful place. Then it really just brings to mind how much I want to honor the history that's gone on before, and the men and women who lived this life.
Exactly. And we invite you to continue following us on this quest.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Thank you all for being subscribers. And dark Ozarks ahead. Sometimes there are no easy answers.
Exactly.